But what can you say, Simon, about Sunderland? A sleeping giant, certainly. A football club with an enormous following, but a club who chose in recent days to part company with their manager, Tony Mowbray. And after, presumably, an extensive interview process, they brought in the former assistant to Steven Gerrard at Rangers and Villa, the former manager of Queen's Park Rangers, the former manager of Rangers in Glasgow, Michael Beale. The big question is this: is he a step forward on Tony Mowbray? This was Beale speaking to the Sunderland Club channel.
It's a really proud moment for me and my family to be joining the club. It's a huge club that's not lost on me, and there's a big excitement to get started with the staff and the players as well. 5 of the last 6 years I've spent up in Rangers in Scotland, which is a big club, in between a bit of time with Aston Villa and QPR. So I feel like I've seen a lot of things in football. I'm under no illusions of the size of this club and how passionate the fan base are, and how much that their push behind this team is what makes this club what it is. And I'm hoping to bring in some ideas and combine it with the good work. The biggest thing for me with this club in this moment in time is the vision from Carell through to Christian into myself, and I'm really aligned with that. I feel that this is a fantastic moment for me to be joining the club.
You've been a bit hot and cold on Michael Beale, because what we know is this: after working with Gerrard, and Gerrard disappears off to Saudi Arabia, that's fine. But before that, Beale got his shot as a manager, as a head coach in his own right at Queen's Park Rangers. And then it was widely reported that Wolves came calling, and he said, no, that's not for me. That's not for me. I've a job to do here. Then, of course, it's widely reported, no longer just Wolves, it's Rangers who are in. That is for me. I'm out of there. And that's what triggered you having a bit of an onslaught verbally on Michael Beale.
I also think he's a bit of a bluffer. I think he's one of those that talks a certain talk. He's now talking about the nature of the relationship with the management at Sunderland, because one of the reasons why Mowbray was out the door is because he opened his mouth about transfers. He talked about needing transfer spend, and that created a negative reaction from the owner of Sunderland, because that wasn't on the agenda, about the necessity to have more players. And so the clear vision from the ownership, the most important thing for me was to have the clear vision from the ownership. And I have that, and I'm aligned with the ownership. That was the dynamic that Bill just said there. Look, I hope I'm wrong. You know, I want young managers to be successful. Like we've just discussed, we want number twos coming out from underneath the umbrella of those that have got the top job, and expanding the portfolio of managers we've got in this country. He started very well at Queen's Park Rangers. I don't like the manner in which he left Queen's Park Rangers, because they gave him an opportunity. They took a punt. No one was running around saying, oh, that number two that used to work for Gerrard, that no one's really much heard of as a manager, we'll give him a punt. QPR did, and they supported him, and their reward for that was when they were going well, he got his head turned.
That's what makes your blood boil, isn't it? As a former owner, because you still feel Ian Dowie did you in that one.
Well, it's not about Ian Dowie. It's about the way that you should operate and the way that owners should operate. Owners should show loyalty, and so should managers. And the only reason an owner doesn't show loyalty is when a manager's gone the wrong way. Now, if you get a manager in, like Palace did with the Dutch fellow,
Frank de Boer,
who I accused his brother of being the manager of Palace when we were in Qatar.
I remember that.
And gave him four games.
Yeah.
I think there's something fundamentally wrong about the reasons why you interviewed him and employed him in the first place, and the pup that you sold him, because everything was wrong. And I think that's on the owner as much as it is on the manager, and they probably made the right decision because they got out of jail. But the point is that it's a two-way transaction. I've always believed in loyalty, and I believe that you give managers a period of time to be able to arrest any slumps, and you don't just knee-jerk into the situation. But I also dislike, because I can hear the argument being said, but the moment I go off about someone like Beale or Marco Silva, when they get given an opportunity, they get the opportunity given to them, they get supported, and then that opportunity presents other people looking at them. And rather than going, no, I'm with these guys, this is how it works, these guys gave me the ones, I got a bit of loyalty, they're out the door. Now, I can hear people saying, well, that's what owners do, but it's not true. Owners don't do that. What owners do is they try and go as long as they possibly can, and then they pay the bugger for failing, because he goes out of the door. The last thing an owner wants to do is fire a manager, because he's got to pay him to go, Because one of the great things about football management is you get paid for failure.
But that's the chance you take as an owner, isn't it?
So I'm talking about
the contract. You agree?
I'm talking, yeah, absolutely. But I'm talking about the contrast in the loyalty demanded from a manager by an owner, and then the accusation that when an owner fires a manager, where's his loyalty? It's a much bigger decision. It's a much bigger decision when an owner fires a manager because he's got to A, compensate him for it, and B, find somewhere else. Whereas when a manager does 5 minutes of his work, gets a look at him because other people all of a sudden admire the work that he's doing and the opportunity he's been given, and then he buggers off. That's why my objection to that. I think that's the wrong thing to do. If you've earned your stripes, if you've been somewhere for 2 or 3 years and you've really pulled up trees and a bigger opportunity comes along, it's disappointing, but you don't get the same vitriol and disdain from people like me when that happens.
So what does Beale need to do to impress you? Knuckle down and win 4 in the trot or something?
I don't think he'll be particularly bothered where he needs to impress me. He's got a great opportunity. Sunderland are 7th in the league.
It got to him a bit. He used to message me when you were digging him out.
Well, that's up to him. Background noise. He should be focused on what he's doing. Hence the reasons why he didn't do particularly well at Rangers, because perhaps he wasn't focused enough, or perhaps he isn't good enough. But we've seen that in this division, he can get a side together at Queen's Park Rangers.
Actually, on Rangers in Glasgow, he says there was a lot of change with people leaving, and I got pulled in different places.
Oh, shut up. Shut up and get on with your job. It's about your failings. It's not about change. It's about those that can overcome. If the job was bleeding easy, everyone would be doing it. The reason why you got the Rangers job is because you were perceived to be capable. Rangers was a big job. It was a big opportunity. You made a fool of yourself up there. You weren't very good at it. Another guy's come in. Look at what he's doing with the place. Look what the other guy's doing with the place.
Is it a step up in Mowbray?
No, not really. It's a different feel, isn't it? It's a younger manager that speaks the speak that might well be relatable to people that when they interview him they like, and has played the game with the media. Everybody in the media went, "Oh, that's refreshing." Last year when he came out and said, "I'm not going to Wolves," when you probably dig beneath that, there's probably a lot of reasons why he didn't go to Wolves rather than just, "I'm with Queen's Park Rangers."
Yeah.
Because when a better opportunity came along, he went to Rangers in his perception. I don't think he's a step up or a step down. I think he's a different feel. They obviously think that the Mowbray relationship would run its course. Sunderland are in the mix. We're in the mix with Tony Mowbray. Is Tony Mowbray one of those managers that I alight upon thinking, "Oh, if I had a team, I must have Tony Mowbray in my dugout"? No, but wherever he's gone, Tony Mowbray, majority of the time, has done a respectable job. Maybe you can argue about some of the times at Middlesbrough, and maybe you can look at some of his times in other football clubs, but he's a respectable pair of hands. They're close, Sunderland, aren't they? You're on the cusp of the top 6. Sunderland ain't expected to get in the top 2, so a playoff berth would have been a good outcome for Sunderland.
Right.
And they're right on the cusp of that. So Beale is lucky to get this job because it's a job with an opportunity.
Okay, well, let's put it out there. Sunderland fans, is Michael Beale the man to get you to the playoffs? Give us a shout on that. Is he a step forward on Tony Mowbray?
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the TalkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. TalkSPORT.